Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
And it's a good afternoon. Welcome to Borderlines, the only show that takes you beyond borders on the only station that matters. Nigeria Info 99.3 FM. We are streaming live on YouTube. We are also streaming live on Facebook. You can follow us on at Nigeria Info FM Lagos, on Twitter and on Instagram. So I told you earlier in the afternoon show that we have a really interesting show for you this afternoon. I know I say that every week, but I dare you to tell me where else you get the kind of guests that we get. Now, here's a country you don't hear enough about. Yes. In fact, here's a country you should hear more about. Uganda. We're traveling. We're going beyond borders. We're going to Uganda. We're staying in Africa because, you know, when we talk in Africa, we talk to our brethren, our African brethren. So let me start with our guest. He's someone who has endured brutality firsthand. Kakwenza, and you've got to let me be gentle pronouncing this because it's likely I'll get it wrong and you'll be laughing when it comes on air. Kakwenza Rukirabashaija, I think, is an award-winning novelist, activist, and one of Uganda's most fearless voices. He's a critic against tyranny. In 2020, his satirical novel, The Greedy Barbarians, a scathing indictment of political corruption, led to his arrest. In 2020, after criticizing the first son on Twitter, he was kidnapped, tortured, and eventually forced into exile. His writings and advocacy have since made headlines around the world and earned him the International Writer of Courage Award. But Kakwenza, like many activists of his type, his story is just one of personal suffering. It's a lens into the broader erosion of civil rights, civil liberties in Uganda, and the complicity of regional and international actors who continue to remain silent. In the special 1-hour conversation, Lagos, Nigeria, Israel, Palestine, wherever you join us from, UK, Europe, all over, I would like you to join me in welcoming my guest, because when we have dissident voices, we must always applaud and make them welcome. Kakwenza, welcome to Borderlines. Well, digitally, welcome to Nigeria.
Thank you so very much for hosting me. And, thank you for the wonderful and encomiamistic introduction that you've given me out there.
Oh, no, you deserve it. You deserve it. I mean, your work is amazing.
Yeah, I've been to Nigeria, I think, 3 times.
3 times. Right. Okay. Yeah. So the next time you come, you have to come into the studio.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Excellent.
Before this year ends, actually.
Oh, superb. Then my producer, Gwenga, will be in touch to arrange it with you, because we know that Uganda is yet to go through another change. But we don't have, it seems like an hour is long, but it's never, ever long enough. Before we go into what happened to you, most people forget that Uganda has had pretty much the same man in power for the last 40 odd years. Just take us back to the time when he took over, okay, from the previous president, whose name now suddenly skips my mind as I was about to speak, and then where we are now in Uganda. Just give us a broad outline, if you could do that in 2 minutes.
So in 1980, Uganda went into an election, which Museveni got only 2 votes. Was it 2 votes or 1 vote? I don't know. I think, but it was not more than 3 votes. It was not more than 2 votes. So he lost miserably, and he accused the past government of election violence, rigging, corruption, and He had several reasons. And he decided to go to the bush. He sold the idea to some of his colleagues, and they agreed with him. They went to the bush, and within 5 years, they catapulted that government, and he came to power. That was in 1986. So the reason why he went to the bush, I've already said: corruption, vote rigging, election violence, and all that, extrajudicial killings. So when he came to power, he did exactly the same. And for the past 40 years, we have been encapsulated into the same, and actually more of, actually maybe times 10 or times 100 of what he accused the past government of. That is what we have been dealing with for the last 40 years.
Indeed, he came through a coup, didn't he? Or did he not?
No, it wasn't a coup. He went to the bush and he fought the government and indeed catapulted it, removed it by use of guns. It wasn't a coup, because a coup is just an inside job, whereby it's kind of a mutiny and the army takes over. But it wasn't. He fought the government and catapulted it, removed the president that was there, and he installed himself as the president and promised to lead for 2 years, and then he hands over to the civilian government. And after 2 years, he said, "Oh, I need more 6 years." It was given to him, and then in 1996, he brought a new constitution, and then he said he needs only 1 term of 5 years, and then after that, he again said he should be given another term. Then it was given to him, and then he was supposed to leave power in 2004, and then he changed the constitution. When he changed the constitution, he removed the term limit, so that means he would contest over and over and over again. And then he had age limit that was in 2021. He wasn't supposed to contest because of the age limit. The constitution provided that you're supposed to only be below 75 to contest for president. So in 2017, he bribed parliament again the second time, and they removed the age limit. So that gave him a leeway to contest again in 2021. And here we are stuck with him, so he can be our life president.
Indeed, and that's one of the things that you actually speak up against. So many of our listeners would not have heard, of you and your book. I want you to take us back to, talk to us about your book, The Greedy Barbarian, the one that landed you in prison. What was it about, and what is it that you said that actually upset them and triggered them in such a violent manner?
Writers, when we want to speak the truth, we go through fiction. I learned a lot from your legendary Chinua Achebe. I have read a lot from him, Wallace Onyuka, and most Nigerian writers, especially fiction. I normally read a lot of fiction from Nigeria. I used to. Nowadays, I only read academic books. So you understand that when a writer lives in a community, he has an obligation to speak the truth. And most writers, they speak the truth through fiction. They add a lot of fiction and they make books, and that is what I did. So I grew up in an environment whereby I had a lot of problems, which problems I kind of speaking against those problems, it was kind of a hereditament. I had inherited that from my grandfather, because the things that I complained about, or the things that are an issue, my grandfather used to complain about, I say, my father, my mother, my relatives. So it was, for me, I sat down and I was like, no, I cannot inherit criticism. I have to do something. So I decided to write something down, kind of a biography on Museveni, or his history, because no one knew, very few people know where he came from, or it was not documented. They only know it as oral history. No one has ever documented, where he came from, how he grew up, how he went to school, what happened, how he came to government, how he became the president. So that is what I did in my book. I decided to blow off the cover. So when I wrote the book, it became a hot cake, and in a month,
a bestseller. It became a bestseller. Yes.
Yeah, my house was surrounded, and I was arrested and taken to the dungeons. I met him. We didn't agree on this and that, so I tortured.
Oh, you actually met Museveni himself?
Yeah, when you are arrested, definitely the person who arranged your arrest, you're taken
they took you to
meet him, and you talk to him, and he tells you what he wants. You give, if you are weak-hearted, or if you are after this and that, if you are after material possessions, he gives you what you want. But if you know what you want, if you know that it is not about you, it's about the country, definitely you cannot just sell your soul like that. And most of us writers, we are hard-headed or hot-headed. You cannot just bribe us like that. Yeah, I knew what I want. It's not all about me. Okay.
So what did they offer you? What did he offer you?
You meet me and you say, oh, I'm going to appoint you to this position. And then you ask yourself, you've seen people being appointed. They have no authority. It's just ceremonial. They appoint you to this kind of position, but the problems persist. And deep in your heart, you're like, no, this is not what I want. I don't want problems. I don't want these ceremonial positions. I want authority to change things, of which you do not have it. It is just ceremonial. So you decide to, out of conscience, you decide to refuse. Say no. And when you refuse, that is when the problems persist. They keep persisting. They keep arresting you, torturing. They make your life hell, miserable. And that is how I fled to exile, when I could no longer, put up with the mistreatment, the torture and all that.
Okay. So you then wrote a tweet. My producer titled it, "The Tweet That Shook the Throne." What happened the moment you tweeted about, Museveni's son?
I don't think that was the real cause.
Oh, tell us.
Because previously I had been called to go and meet the president, and I put it right in his ears that I'm not interested. And that actually angered me, and because his son was kind of entitled. He thought that whoever is summoned is supposed to go. So he insulted me. So when he insulted me, I also decided to go in public and insult him. So when I insulted him in public, so he decided to come after me.
Wow. So it was only because you responded. So the father asked to see you, you refused. The son wanted to see you, you refused. And then he insulted you, and then you insulted him back.
Exactly. You cannot insult me and you go away.
How old is his son?
Don't take it with equanimity. I think he's 51.
Right. And that's the son.
With a brain. 51 with a brain of a microcephalic brain of about maybe 5-7 years. The things he does with all entitlement and braggadocio is as if, was born with a spoon in the mouth. And indeed, it is true. So,
indeed.
But as a man, you do not have to, if you are born with a spoon in the mouth, you don't have to keep the same spoon in your mouth, because it kind of distracts you from your purpose, it distracts you from who you are. if you keep the spoon in the mouth, it blinds you and you do stupid things. And indeed, he's doing stupid things.
You've said before that your torture in Uganda was not just physical, but psychological. Talk to us about that. What do you mean?
Yeah, the mere fact that you can see the physical torture on me, it's not only that. The physical torture is a manifestation of deep psychological or emotional torture, but I think I'm healing from that. I can't live with that forever. It means that they have won, and I cannot let them win that. I'm a strong person, so.
Indeed. You still continue to write, but you had to leave the country. How were you able to get out? Can you tell us?
No, I can't tell you how I got out, because it wasn't. The people who helped me get out are still in Uganda, and I don't want to see them being picked tomorrow and charged with treason.
Of course. Don't tell us their names. Just kind of tell us what happened. Take us through the actions, if you like.
But I managed to beat the 24 surveillance that had been deployed around my house. 24/7 surveillance of the whole Special Forces Command that guards the president. I managed to beat them. And used an official border because I didn't have a passport. Managed to sneak, and then I went to Germany without a passport. So
incredible.
That's how I beat them.
We've often heard about this from dissidents who've had to escape from the country. Tell us something. So, in fact, before you tell us, let me play this for you, and I'd like your opinion. Something, obviously, that happened just this week.
Am I allowed to go?
No. You have to listen. You can listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, as I'm listening, can I go off video so that I can talk to my wife?
No. We're live on YouTube.
All right.
The top leader of the movement, we humbly take full responsibility of all the mistakes made by ourselves, our agents, and representatives. We therefore stand here to repent and ask for your forgiveness and forgiveness of especially the people of Uganda and the whole country. For restoration and favor. Lord, restore the favor that we had with them in the beginning. Bring healing to their hearts. Soften the hardened hearts and reconnect us to the original vision of our national unity and unwavering commitment to social and economic transformation of our nation together.
So, of course, that went viral this week. When you heard that apology, what were in fact, when you heard the whole 40-odd seconds, what are your thoughts? What did you think?
I didn't think about anything, but I actually laughed. The whole of that thing is cosmetic. For me, I do not think that Museveni's sins and those of his family, they are forgivable. The only thing that Museveni, if he had some kind of empathy in him, since he cannot bring back the dead, the people that he has killed, he has tortured, he cannot heal them. He cannot bring back what he has stolen, because he has stolen a lot from the country together with his family and the Chamuchas. At least if he had said he has released all the political prisoners and he has resigned as a president, at least it would have made some small sense of, let's say, 15-20%. But standing with his wife and say we are asking for forgiveness when we have political prisoners. We have, for example, my father Besigye is in prison on trumped-up charges.
Sorry, you're who?
No, my father Besigye is in prison on trumped-up charges. No evidence. He's in prison, but this fool Museveni is asking for apologies. He's asking for Ugandans to forgive him. Do you see it making sense? It doesn't make sense at all. For me, I believe in revenge, by the way. I'm a very vengeful person. in order to ever forgive Museveni and his son for the things that they have done to me, is to do the same things that they have done to me, to them. Yeah, or even more. They have killed many Ugandans. Many Ugandans have lost their lives, they have lost their careers, they have, we have lost revenue, we lost a future as a country. So there is no way you can just come, stand there, you open your mouth and you spew garbage and you think that we shall rely on that garbage and we forgive you. No, it does not work like that. Even though I do not believe in the Bible, but I normally get some inspiration stories from the Bible. That there's the other person who asked for forgiveness and he brought back 10 times more he had stolen. I think it was Zacharias something. He had stolen from the people and he asked for forgiveness and he brought back 10 times, tenfold. So Museveni has not only stolen, but he has killed, he has maimed, he has made people suffer, he has made people flee their countries, he has killed our future as a country. So to stand there and say, please forgive me, when we have hundreds of thousands of political prisoners in prison, when we are losing 90% of the revenue through corruption, when he doesn't want to leave power, which kind of... that kind of apology works for his family, not for a country. You cannot. We are 48 million people, and to apologize to us 48 million people, you don't have to bring any cosmetic apology. It has to be a practical apology. Maybe you could just stand at the city square in the center of Kampala, and everyone who has the vendetta with him brings canes, brings drums of oil, and we revenge his family. You cannot apologize just like that and you think it is okay. It doesn't work like that.
Indeed. However, I mean, I do have to say, the government of Museveni say they don't believe in torture, they don't have a policy of torture, etc. Which, of course, you would say, what would you say to that?
Very many everyday people are brought to court when they are tortured. Who tortures them? It is the military that brings them to court. On whose orders, or who does the military represent? We've seen in video police people beating up people on the streets, unarmed people, non-violent people. The police, the army, beating, serious beating. The Museveni's son on Twitter, with too much braggadocio and authority, boasting that he has Bobby Wine's bodyguard in his basement being tortured. So who is speaking for the government that the government does not torture people?
Okay, so we have to ask. So of course you had Idi Amin, then you had Obote, who was the name I was trying to remember, and Museveni took over from Obote. But the same Museveni was praised for, economic reform, healthcare, for doing well with AIDS and bringing down the infection of AIDS, etc. And indeed, he was also praised for women's rights and, the introduction of affirmative action. Tell us, what do you think happened to that Museveni? Or was it just a case of, the international community lauding him?
I don't think it was the international community, doing all the PR work for him. It was kind of, and I don't think that Obote was very bad as compared to Museveni. No, he wasn't. It was kind of people were tired of him. And I don't think Obote has stolen a lot of revenue that as compared to Museveni, or he killed a lot of people as compared to Museveni. No, I don't think that. Obote actually died a poor person. By the time he fled to exile, he only owned 2 houses in his name. His children were studying in public schools in Uganda. As compared to Museveni, his children, they actually When they have flu, they fly to Germany. When they want to give birth, they fly to North America to go and give birth, you know. So you cannot compare Obote and Museveni. Obote was a patriot.
Well, no, not so much a comparison. My question was, I believe you're going back to your seat, right? So we can talk properly, because I can't. We're live on YouTube right now.
I'm going into the car, so you'll see me properly.
Right. Okay. What I'm asking you is, what happened to that Museveni? Or are you saying that he's never achieved any of those things?
Museveni was actually, for the first 2 years that he was in power, he was, I believe that he was a good man. Maybe he was laying a foundation for the people to love him. And then after he committed atrocities, like some of the comrades that he had in the bush, he thought that it was kind of a deceptive, strategic deception. He brought them to support him and for a cause. And within those 2 years that he said that he would hand over power to the civilian government, he was like, no, power is very sweet, so I cannot just give away the power that I've fought for 5 years. So what he decided to do, he started killing one by one his former comrades. He started killing one by one. Whoever was bringing out ahead to call him out, he would kill them. And those are the atrocities that forced him to remain in power. He never wanted to give up power, because giving up power means that it meant accountability. He had to give accountability to the people that he had killed, to the things that he had already stolen. That happened actually in about 5 years from when he took power. You know? So it's kind of accumulative. Everything kept being accumulative. Yeah?
Indeed. So let's talk about the rumor or possibly what has been said that his son is going to be taking over. What are your thoughts on that, especially given that his father has been there for this long?
Actually, his son has all the rights to become a president. I have no problem with that. As long as he goes through the right constitutional means of becoming president, I have no problem. The problem is wanting to take power using unconstitutional means, using impunity to take power.
Yeah.
So if his son wants to become the president, he should stop politicking as a military officer. Actually, to become a president, you have to have a very clean record. I don't think that his record can put him in that position of becoming a president right now. His record is already soiled. He has tortured the people. He's a candidate of ICE. He's not a candidate of presidential elections in Uganda. He has already tortured people. He has already stolen. He has already proved to us that he doesn't have integrity. He doesn't have sense. Basically, he belongs to prison. He belongs to a mental hospital. He belongs to the ICC to answer charges of crimes against humanity. So, such a kind of a person, he would be having a chance at the presidency if he was an upright person. But he lost that because of his stupidity, because of his arrogance, because of his braggadocio, because, you know, me, I would actually support him to become the president if he was an upright person. But he's not. So, an upright person is the person who respects the law, respects the constitution, respects other people, is a moral person. But if you see him who is not really a person whom we can trust to become president, and by the way, we have a constitution. If the president dies right now, the vice president who takes over. And for 6 months, and then we go into an election, and we get another president. Yeah.
Yeah.
So power is not just grabbed in this age and era, we cannot just grab power like that. Using unconstitutional means. We are way, way, way past that. Sorry about that. I hope now you can.
Right, we seem to be having a problem with your line now, Kakwenza. Okay, unfortunately, we have to go on a quick break. We'll be right back. We have a problem.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now, but it's not very good.
Yeah, I'm now settled. Sorry, it was I was getting into the car.
Yes, indeed. Right, so let's talk about the opposition. The opposition and the persecution of the opposition. There's Dr. Kiza Besege, who is one of the most popular opposition. He's now been arrested again. This time he's been arrested under treason charges, despite his poor health. What does this bode for the next election in Uganda, which is now going to be in January next year?
Yeah, we are heading into I can't actually call it an election. It's a selection. Uganda, what you have to understand is that since independence, we have never had an election in Uganda. We've never had a peaceful transfer of power in Uganda. Transition of power. We do not have that. We've never had an elected president since independence, because we got independence in 1962. Then by then it was a federal system. We had a prime minister and a ceremonial president, and then the ceremonial president wanted to become the prime minister, and the prime minister wanted to become the president, and then the prime minister acted very quickly and catapulted the constitution that we had, the colonial constitution. And then from that, he appointed himself as the president and became a republic. So he became the president of the Republic of Uganda. And then after, that was 1966. Then after 4 years, came Idi Amin, catapulted that president, Milton Obote. And then he ruled for 9 years. Then we had about 3-4 other presidents. Then came 1981 when we had the first election. It was, then Museveni said it was rigged. He only got 1 or 2 votes. Then he went to the bush. Then he catapulted Tito Okello, who had also catapulted Milton Obote. Then from 1986, we had the first election again in 1996 after the promulgation of another constitution. So Museveni rigged it. It was very violent. Actually, in history, it's the most violent election Uganda has ever had, that one of 1996. Then 2001, we had another very violent election. 2004, another violent 2005 rather. Another violent 2006 rather, 2011, 2016, 2021. Now we are going into another selection, violent selection. I can't call it a violent election. It's a violent selection. The Electoral Commission is owned by Mr. Museveni, definitely. So he already knows that, I appoint you to become the chairperson Electoral Commission only if you give me the victory. So however much Ugandans can go and vote, actually, which, let's say, 20 million Ugandans have registered to vote, it is only 5 million that go out and vote. And even when they vote, their votes cannot be counted. So you cannot call that an election, no. So we do not expect anything to happen in 2026, definitely. We expect the same things that happened in 2021, the same things that happened prior other years. So it's not an election. We cannot expect anything from there.
Okay, let me open up the lines for my listeners in case they have questions for you. 0201 277 0993, 0201 465 7190. And WhatsApp, you can send your message 0809 597 5805. I have to say, and hold on, the lines are going already. Bear with me. Why are we having this issue? Hello? 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 Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Borderline.
Yes.
I want to ask you, your guest of the lost resistance army. Because I am also an soldier, I was also into the international peacekeeping at Mogadishu. So I know a little of Uganda and Kampala. And even I've met Yoweri Museveni one-on-one. So is it that the Law Resistance Army also had the same mission that Yoweri Museveni himself had when he went to the bush? Was their mission to topple Yoweri Museveni? I would like to know.
So, sorry, say that again. Was whose mission?
The Lost Resistance Army. There is
okay, the Resistance Army. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What about them? Please say that again slowly.
I want to know. I want to know if their mission was to topple Yoweri Museveni, just like he did when he went into the bush.
Okay, I see. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you hear? Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Did you hear that? Did you hear that question? Kakwenza, did you hear that question?
Could you please repeat for him? Could you please repeat for me his question?
Yes. He said the Resistance Army that went into the bush.
I didn't hear it very well.
Yeah. He said was the intention to topple Museveni, the Resistance Army that went into the bush. But wait, let me answer more calls. I'll be with you in a sec. Hello.
Good evening, ma.
Good evening.
This is Market Woman.
Go ahead.
What I want to say is that these African leaders, how can they say they have repented? What they have stolen, they will not return it back. And you said you have repented. You want to bring your son again into power. That is not repentance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name? Where are you calling from, please?
Yeah, my name is Peter Mons, calling from Shomolu.
Go ahead, Peter.
Now, your guest is talking about violent selection, not violent election. And he has enumerated the number of years the violent selection has been taking place. I want to ask him, are the ordinary people of his country comfortable with this violent selection? Is there nothing that they can do to stop it, or do they enjoy this vicious cycle? So what are the ordinary people doing to make sure this violent selection, according to him, does not continue? Do they enjoy it? Thank you.
Okay. Did you hear that? Kakwenza, did you hear that?
I heard that question, and it is actually very, very important.
Yes.
It is on the mouth of every concerned person in Uganda, in East Africa, in Africa, in the whole world. Actually, they're asking, what are we Ugandans, what are we doing about it? Definitely, Ugandans are very busy on social media, TikTok, Facebook. The Ugandans lack the inertia. They are, there's this kind of fear that has been instilled in Ugandans. There is this, in Uganda, there is so much brutality that you cannot go on the streets and you demonstrate against anything. Even if you have placards and you go to demonstrate against, let's say, lack of medicine in the hospital, that alone is a trigger for the military to brutalize you the way they want, because that is the general weakness of Mr. Museveni. He thinks that anything that can organize people to say no to him threatens his power. And the last demonstration that we've ever had against him that threatened his power, that almost made him pack his bags, was in 2011, when after walk to work, during 2011, he saw that committed Ugandans can really put him down. I don't think that the military in Uganda.
Okay, bear with me. I'm just going to answer this call. Yeah, we seem to be having issues with your line. Bear with me. Hello?
Hey, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Capacity
Yeah,
to contain a demonstration. They are full. They fit. They cannot.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Yeah. The World Bank sanctioned Uganda because of the anti-LGBT position. What impact has that made have on the economy of Uganda, and what effort is the government making in order to reduce the pain?
Okay, thank you. Why do you have two questions? I can't do two questions. Right. Can you hear me now? Are we back? Is your line back? Kakwenza? Can you hear me?
Can we answer one question at a go instead of
yes.
When I'm still answering one question and then...
Yeah, but your line was frozen. Your line was frozen on this side.
Yeah, I was still explaining. Oh, I don't know when you last heard what I said. I don't know where I don't know what you heard last. I was still explaining about Ugandans being cowards because of the fear they have been instilled,
Yes.
Hello?
I'm listening.
I was still explaining the fear that was instilled in Ugandans because of too much brutality. But I believe that it cannot last longer. Ugandans will one time say enough is enough. If we die, we die. Because after all, there has never been a revolution whereby people do not die. No dictator has the capacity to kill more than 1,000 people. Maybe we shall get very brave Ugandans who will say, if we die, let us die. And, we rescue our country from wrong hands.
Okay. There was a question.
For now, whoever comes up to... whoever comes up to protest against something, even if it is a petty thing, they are brutalized, and most of other Ugandans, they fear to come up,
Yeah, there was a question earlier about the Lord's...
that is a problem that we have in Uganda right now.
Right. I don't know whether you can hear me because we seem to be having issues with your line again. There was a question regarding the Lord's Resistance Army
yes, I can hear you.
Joseph Kony. My listener asked earlier, did they also go into the bush in order to topple Museveni?
Yeah. Kony was...
I'm afraid we can't hear you anymore.
With Museveni in the bush, the people, his comrades that he had in the bush, when he veered off the topic, the purpose as why they were in the bush, he started killing this one. So survived, he decided to lodge a war against Museveni. So Kony's war has been persistent for very, very many years. He's one of the people who survived to be killed by Museveni. And right now he's in the Central African Republic and is being hunted by the ICC. I don't even think that he's the one who committed those crimes that he's being accused of. It was one way of Museveni using Europe to get rid of Kony. I don't think Kony committed such crimes. It was Museveni's people dressed up in Kony's LRA rebel outfit, go in northern Uganda, cut off people's lips, brutalize them, and then Museveni takes pictures and say, you see what is Kony doing? In fact, it was him doing the same, because we have seen very many people in the government say that Museveni used to dress up in Obote's whatever, military attire and go and commit atrocities, and then
Kakwenza, unfortunately, because we have time, I have to always
would hate Obote for that.
Because we have time issues, I have lots of questions. I need you to shorten your answers because literally we've got a couple of minutes left. I have a really important question here from one of our listeners, Gabe Inaja. He said, "What are your thoughts about Bobby Wine? Is he still going to be contesting?" Just tell us about that. If you could do that in 30 seconds. The lines have been going and I have to answer them.
Yeah, I've seen Bobby Wine say that he's coming back to contest in 2026. Though for me, as his friend, I would not advise him to go and contest again. I think he's being misled by the people who are around him, people who are contesting for small positions, who are after positions, like the parliamentary seats. They're just using him to come back into election. But for me, my message has always been clear that we should never allow this election to happen. We should boycott and also make sure that no election happens at all. Because if we boycott, Museveni is capable of bringing some other small bodies to contest against him to masquerade as if there has been an election. But if we boycott, we also make sure that Museveni does not hold any election. Even if it means being violent, we become violent.
Thank you.
If it means burning down the Electoral Commission office, we burn it so that they do not have ballot papers to go for the election. They do not have facilitation to go for the election. That is my message.
Okay, let me just answer this
boycott and make sure that no election happen.
Okay, actually, before I answer this call, I did have a question from Titilokwe, who said the World Bank put sanction or they punished Uganda because of the LGBT laws. How has that affected Uganda, the Ugandan economy, and what is being done about it?
I don't think sanctions are really serious. If they were serious, I don't think, anything that messes with the economy of Uganda, Museveni takes it very serious. These sanctions are just cosmetic. What Ugandans should know, what the world should know, is that these Europeans, North Americans, they don't care about human rights. They care about what we call geopolitical expediency.
Indeed.
They care about their bilateral relations.
Okay, let me just answer this call. Hello. Yes, good evening. Very quickly.
Yeah, it's Emmanuel speaking to you from Ekwe.
Yes, very quickly.
My question is, we've seen African leaders, make deals with some countries or some leaders, of the Western world in order to stay in power. If you are in tune with them, you give them what they want, like minerals, resources, in your country, you can stay in power for as long as you want, if you are not robbing the books. Is Museveni doing all this alone, staying in power alone, or committing these atrocities to stay in power alone, or is in cahoots with some other countries of the world? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Oh. Right, can you hear me?
Can you please help me repeat the question because his voice was very low?
Yes, he was asking.
Yeah, the caller's voice was low.
Yes, he was asking about, and we've only got 2 minutes left, I think. Yes, we've only got 2 minutes left. So if you could answer it quickly. He was asking about, does Museveni have support from the international community, which is what's encouraging him to continue the way he is? Hello?
Repeat.
Your line.
I can hear you now.
Yes, go ahead. Do you want me to repeat the question again?
Yeah.
Emmanuel, my listener, was asking if Museveni has support from overseas, from international community. Is that why he's able to actually continue to get away with this and indeed stay in power? I need you to answer that in less than a minute if you can.
Exactly. Museveni has the biggest support that Museveni has is from he has the international support. Very, very big PR machinery that whitewashes his criminality. the extent that the relationship between him and the Western powers keeps afloat. That's the reason why, however much atrocities he has committed, they still give him money, they still give him diplomatic support, and that, exactly, those are the wings that he uses to keep oppressing Uganda. Where do you think he gets the guns from? He gets from Europe, he gets from North America. Where does he get all the military support or, all the economic support? He gets it from these countries. But if they say that enough is enough, if they honored their human rights foreign policies, definitely Museveni would be no more, because there is nothing that he does that aligns with their foreign policy, especially on human rights.
Thank you.
So if they say that enough is enough,
we have to go now.
It will be gone. But
thank you. We have to go now. Kakwenza, I don't know if you can hear me. We have to go now. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and we wish you all the very best. Please. Thank you.
You are listening. Station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Success is like a big mansion. You only see the magnificent edifice, not the strong foundation that...
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.